Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of It's Not Luck with your host Nicola Charlotte. Today's episode is a juicy one. It's one that really comes from a place of I've lived this, I've been there, and therefore it's something that I know is going to resonate with so many of you listening as well. And it's actually inspired by a LinkedIn post that I shared today, which feels slightly strange saying it's inspired by one of my own posts, but it's a post that seems to have resonated with a lot of people. And I've had a few people message me off the back of it saying, this is so true. Like, thank you for sharing this. It's really helped me just see things in a different perspective. So I thought, do you know what? This is my sign to use it as today's podcast episode. Also because we were actually due to be having our very first guest on the season of It's Not Luck. But unfortunately, due to a couple of circumstances on her end, we have postponed that for a couple of weeks' time. So I won't reveal who that was with. That will be coming soon. So this was quite a last minute planning of a podcast, which you could say is totally my fault because I could plan further ahead. But I'm quite enjoying planning these episodes on a week by week basis because it's very real time and I'm really leaning into what conversations I'm having with my clients, what we're talking about in the Expander Club, people that are commenting on, say, my LinkedIn posts or TikTok videos, and really seeing what's needed now. Like, what are people asking for, looking for, talking about? So that's why today we are talking about productivity burnout and the mindset shift that is going to help you unlock easier success. And it sounds too good to be true, but I promise you, it's really quite game-changing. Before we dive in, and this is for any of my UK listeners, so apologies if you're not in the UK, have you tried the M&S speckled egg cookies? Oh my goodness, they should come with a warning sign. They are so good that you really have to resist the urge of eating more than one. I bought them yesterday and I've had two already. So I'm sitting here now with my cup of tea, mint tea, delicious, having just had a M&S speckled egg cookie. If you don't get them because you're not in the UK, you can make them. Like, I would really recommend them. In fact, I went to a friend's birthday yesterday for a barbecue, and one of my friends who also came made mini egg cookies because I told her about the M&S cookies. So that's a slight tangent, but if you're looking to do some baking this week or this weekend, then that would be the thing to create. So this episode is really one that I needed myself a few years ago. Because I was, and I probably still am, to be honest, the poster girl for productivity, always doing, always planning, love being organized, always trying to just tick everything off on my to-do list and kind of prove to myself that I was capable of doing it. And I am someone who is super productive, very focused, very organized. I think I've said this before on a number of episodes, but I'm a generator. So I am a generator in human design, which basically means that I kind of have this unlimited energy. And when I put my mind to something, I just get it done. Like, to me, it's just worth doing rather than delaying it until the next day, because I just think, well, I want to wake up knowing that I've done everything. And I'm sure there are a lot of you listening that resonate with this as well. But then I came across this concept called toxic productivity. And I immediately identified those traits within myself, which is not really something to wear with a badge of honor, because it's essentially, well, I got the definition for the purpose of this episode. So let me read it out. Toxic productivity is the obsessive need to be constantly busy, productive, or working, often at the expense of your well-being, peace of mind, and long-term growth. Now, this is me. I find it quite hard to sit still, not because I always need to be doing things, but because I guess it's because I like to feel productive. And I mean, that being said, Saturday afternoon, just gone, I literally did nothing all afternoon. And by do nothing, I literally sat on my sofa and watched what I like to call brain rot content. Some of it was interesting. Some of it was really like the Kardashians finale, for example. So I am getting better at not doing anything. However, there was a period of my life, probably about 4 years ago, where I was like the definition of toxic productivity. And this is very much a mindset kind of issue, let's say, especially amongst women who are driven, especially amongst women who have big career ambitions, whether that's in corporate or with your own business. And I think especially in my case, as a solo founder. So I don't have a team. So I take on responsibility for doing everything myself. And I guess I've got to the stage that I'm at of growing a 6+ figure business. I say on my own. I have had employees over the past 5 years, like on short-term basis. So it's not solely been on my own, but right now, for example, I don't have anyone that I hire to support me. So I think it ultimately comes down to this mindset belief of success equals working harder or working longer hours. And therefore, it's very easy to get caught up in this trap of, if I'm working longer hours, I am more likely to achieve my definition of success, which is what we're going to come on to. And so this episode is really to help reclaim ease when it comes to hitting your goals and shift from doing more to becoming more. And this is really a powerful, powerful shift. And it's a mindset shift. It's not about consuming more. It's not about doing more. It's not about working longer hours. It's a shift to your identity and the way that you see yourself to help you hit your goals, hit new levels of income, climb up the corporate ladder with more ease from a place of this feels good rather than exhaustion. So let me read out the LinkedIn post that inspired this conversation that we're going to have today, because I just think I summed it up quite succinctly, but in a way that makes a lot of sense. So it says, what if the real reason you're stuck isn't the how, but the who? If you're not quite where you want to be, then listen up. It's not how to get promoted. It's not how to scale your business more sustainably. It's not how to lead with more confidence, but who you believe you are while doing it. And I see this all the time with my clients, founders, senior leaders, incredible women, people who others look up to. And yet these women, they hesitate, they second guess, they shrink. Even when the plan is solid, even when they're doing all the right things. Because strategy without self-belief stalls every single time. We're taught to seek the next tactic, the next leadership course, the next 5-step formula. But if you deep down don't believe you're the kind of woman who can lead the room, deserves the promotion, can increase your prices, can be seen, heard, and taken seriously, then no strategy will stick. Mindset is the lever that shifts everything. It's the invisible edge between staying stuck and showing up powerfully. And it's the part no one teaches us in school, in corporate or in business. Here's the truth. Your mindset isn't a nice to have. It's absolutely essential. You can't outperform your self-concept. You won't lead boldly if you're consumed by self-doubt. And you can't create ease if you believe hustle is your only option. So if you've been asking, what's the next move? Try asking, who do I believe I need to be first? Because when your mindset aligns, the actions follow. The results shift and the stuck, it fades. So I hope that resonates with you. And we're going to dive into a couple of those elements in this conversation. By the way, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, you can also watch on YouTube. So come and say hi and join the conversation there as well if you want. So let's dive in straight away. So this feeling of being stuck, even though you're doing all the right things and you're showing up consistently. And what I think is important to note here is there's a point where productivity turns from being powerful to performative. And this is definitely something that I see a lot with clients, to be honest, and where I can recognize traits within myself, where we're performing in the belief that by showing up in a certain way, that will lead to results. And this is really where we sign up for more courses, where we, listen to more podcasts, where we update our strategies again and again and again, where we join more free webinars, all of those things in a bid to feel ready enough to get to that next level. And this showed up recently actually with one of my clients, and we created a beautiful new offer for her. It was a mid-ticket offer. It was around, off the top of my head, $599, I think it was, for a group program that she was creating. And she was posting consistently, working constantly behind the scenes, super, super thorough, like type A personality. But she wasn't showing up in her energy or her content like the expert she was. She lacked this belief that people would pay $599 to join her group program. And so was kind of being busy, thinking that that was being productive. So we worked a lot on her mindset. It wasn't a messaging problem. It wasn't a lack of consistency with her content. It was switching her belief from, I'm not sure I'm ready, I'm not sure I've got enough experience, to, I'm a leader in this space. I have knowledge people will take value from. I am qualified and I know that I'm going to help transform people's lives through this offer. And so it was a lot of that mindset work through things like journaling and affirmations, but also on our one-to-one conversations together on Voxer or on our client calls, where I would always get her permission, but to give her suggested mindset tweaks. So she'd say things like, I don't know if I'm ready this week, or, but what if people ask me, loads of questions? So I would reflect that back to her and say, okay, so what will it take for you to feel ready? And actually, when we looked at what she was teaching in her course versus her knowledge, she could have done this 3 months ago. But it's that shift of, who do I need to become to show up in a way that will fill out this group program? And honestly, I think we worked on her mindset consistently, probably for a couple of weeks. Yeah, it was 2 weeks because it was in between our 2 one-to-one calls. And after that second call, so 2 weeks later, when she was like, right, I am showing up now as this person who knows I have what it takes, who knows I've got the expertise, who knows I can hold this space. The shift in her energy, on her stories and her content, it meant that she began seeing inbound messages from people saying, this sounds amazing, I want to learn from you, how do I sign up? She had 3 inbound messages within that first week of her launch, purely because of the stories that she was telling and her expertise that was coming through, because of the shift in her energy and mindset around, who am I as this expert? She went on to sell out all 7 spaces in her group program, all through inbound DMs, all through people in her existing audience. So it was a blend of her content, her messaging, and that shift in her mindset that meant people bought into her confidence and expertise. So, are you being productive, trying to do all the right things in a bid to see success? Or actually, are you focusing on, who do I need to show up as to get that next promotion, to be selected for that opportunity, to fill out my next group program or offer? So think about that shift. Okay, what I want to move on to now is the link between strategy and mindset. This whole conversation, like, is it strategy, is it mindset, and what is it that actually moves the needle? Now, don't get me wrong, both are super important. I am a mindset coach and a business strategist for the very reason that I know you can't have success in one without the other, and that they work perfectly together. But strategy is only 50% of the equation. Mindset is the other 50%. If your actions are rooted in doubt, i.e. you're doing things from a place of fear, or you're doing things with a scarcity mindset, or you're kind of holding back from showing up fully because you're worried about what so-and-so will say, or how people will react, or what if no one responds, you can't out-strategize that. That's not something that strategy is going to solve. So if I think about my own example from when I was first setting up my business and showing up online and trying to figure everything out and kind of dealing with a lot of fear around judgment and comments from people that I know, I was doing all the things, but deep down, I still didn't see myself as an expert. And the example that still feels so, that I just remember so clearly, is when friends and family would say, oh, amazing. So what is this new coaching thing you're doing? And I would downplay it. I'd say, oh yeah, I'm sort of training to be a coach, and this is what I do. And I was so nervous and inarticulate about describing what I did. I never referred to it as a business. I said, I've got this thing on the side. I remember saying that so often. And like, not only does that not instill confidence in the people that you're talking to, but it like lowered my own self belief around where I was taking this business, because I was showing up as someone who didn't really know and didn't really kind of have that confidence in myself. I wasn't showing up as a business owner, definitely not. Just someone that was sort of trying to do this fun little thing on the side. And so it was through a lot of my own mindset work with my coach at the time where I had to shift this identity from I've got this thing on the side to I am running a business. I am a qualified transformational mindset coach. I am building a 6-figure business. That was one of my go-to affirmations back in the day. And it was with that shift in identity that I was then able to shift the way that I showed up in conversations, that I showed up to my Instagram audience, that I filmed videos with that sense of, no, hang on a minute, I've got this qualification. Like, I know what I'm doing. I've already helped people. So mindset and strategy go hand in hand, but the mindset has to come first. And then we layer on the strategy to help you get to where you want to be. So whether you're aiming for a promotion at work, whether you're launching a new offer, whether you're diversifying your offer, whether you're going from one-to-one to one-to-many, it's thinking about who is this version of me who is already doing that? How are they showing up? How are they holding themselves? How are they walking into a room? And it's from that place that we want to be creating the content, that we want to be having the conversations, that we want to be getting people interested in what we're saying. So people buy into confidence. Like, I fully 100% believe that and know that to be true. I am confident when I talk on camera about my offers or to people at networking events or friends at a dinner party about what I do, because I know the results that it has created for hundreds of women I've worked with. But that didn't come straight away. Like, that's taken a lot of work. One of the things that I remember doing, and I still give this advice to clients, is when you are increasing your prices, or if you're in corporate and you're asking for a pay rise, practice having that conversation out loud. Like, I literally would go to my local park with my headphones on, pretend that I was having a conversation with someone, and practice saying out loud, these are my rates, these are the payment plan options, how does that feel to you? And I would say it with confidence, so I didn't stumble across my prices, because stumbling and hesitating then puts doubt into the people that you're saying it to. So there's a little extra tip for you. Okay, now, so we've spoken about the mindset versus strategy. We've spoken about sort of when you're doing all the right things and being productive and how that's counteractive to actually moving the needle forward. So what I want to speak about now is the identity loop. This idea of self-concept and why it matters. So for those of you who don't resonate with the term self-concept is the collection of beliefs you hold about yourself, your capabilities, your worth, your identity. It's what you believe to be true about who you are. So even though you might be in a place where you want to grow, where you want to land a promotion, where you want to be selected by a brand to work with at an event, for example, but if your self-concept is rooted in I'm not ready or I'm not good enough, it creates friction, resistance, or possibly burnout. So earlier on in my journey, years probably 1 to 2, I saw myself as a hard worker. And I saw myself as someone who had to grind to be successful, which meant that I over-delivered, undercharged, and burnt out. I really felt like I needed to give more to be more successful, to say yes to everything, even if it didn't align with my values or my boundaries, because I believed that that's what I needed to do to get to the levels of success and income that I wanted. And so some of the shifts that I had to make sounded like I'm allowed to create success with spaciousness. I get to make money whilst also having fun and switching off. I am a business owner who gets paid for my expertise, not my hustle. So it's thinking about what are some of these beliefs that you're holding on to at the moment that you are tying to success? And are they serving you? Or are they draining you? Are they burning you out? Are they making you feel exhausted? I was speaking to one of my clients about this the other day, and she had a launch a couple of months ago, and it completely drained her. It was like the first launch of its kind that she'd done, but it was very much like masculine energy, doing more, working long hours, working over the weekend, to the point where I had to say to her, do not work this weekend. It's actually hindering your success because you're going to be so exhausted next week. It's going to come from a place of like desperate energy rather than flow and ease. And she's just going through her second launch at the moment. Within 24 hours, she had 27 signups to an online workshop that she's hosting. And she said to me, it honestly feels so easy because it's from a place of joy. She fully believes that the right people will sign up, that she's showing up in a way that's going to resonate with her ideal client, that the content that she's created, she's written like from the heart, and she's posting it without a super strict structure. Like, yes, there's a plan, and yes, we've mapped out what her sales goals are and everything and what she needs to do to achieve that. But it's feeling easy because she shifted her mindset around, I get to create ease from a place of joy. I get to have my highest launch to date whilst having fun and not working on the weekends. And look at the difference that's made to her. So think about identity-based affirmations that you want to bring in to your morning rituals or your evening journaling. How can you surround yourself with women who are embodying this version of success? This is, once again, why I've created the Expander Club, so that women can be surrounded by other women who are creating success from a place of ease, from a place of freedom, whilst on holiday, whilst taking time off. There are women who go hiking whilst creating sales. One of the ladies has just been in Ibiza for a week, and she's going to relocate with her husband for a few months because she's like, I've just realized that this freedom business that I've created is giving me so much joy and fulfillment that like we're just going to be nomads for a few months. So those sorts of people you want to be around so that you can get those reminders of what is possible. It's not about hustle, sacrifice, burnout. It's about creating ease and success and freedom so that you can create greater success, ease and freedom from a place of joy. And then making small decisions that align with this identity. So raising your prices, saying no, choosing rest, all of those kinds of things. Okay. Finally, we want to get familiar with this idea of identity-first transformation. And what this means is the majority of people, and myself included in the past, although I've learned from my mistakes, will chase new tactics in a bid to make more money, essentially. But when you shift who you are, the right tactics find you. Identity first is about asking yourself, who do I need to become so that this feels inevitable? How would I show up if I already trusted myself? How would I show up if I knew that my goals were going to be hit? And so when we tune into this mindset of, I know my success is inevitable, this changes everything. You start making decisions faster and cleaner. You embody the energy you embodied the energy that you used to chase, i.e., you're not chasing after someone because you're coming from a place of lack. You already have that energy because you're in this state of flow, of abundance, of ease. And you become more magnetic versus just being fixated on the strategy. So I would really recommend journaling on this. Like thinking of the version of you 5 months, 5 years, 1 year down the line, whatever resonates with you. Imagining you in the most successful place you've been to date. And thinking like, who is this person? How does she think? What is her energy like? Who is she surrounded by? And that's the person we want to embody today. And I thought it'd be nice just to wrap up, because ultimately what this comes down to is being really, really clear on your definition of success. And then asking yourself, who do I need to become to create that version with ease? And I asked I asked all of the ladies in the Expander Club to share some of their examples, because I wanted to highlight just how varied everyone's definition of success is. Which is why so often when people are chasing after strategies or blueprints or 5-step formulas, they're not getting any closer to their definition of success, because those formulas and blueprints aren't based off of that definition, of getting to that definition. They're just based off of, hitting your next paycheck or landing your next client. But if the mindset isn't there, that's not going to work. So someone said, for me, success is freedom. Freedom to flow without having to worry about money. Being able to do things that are aligned with how I feel in the moment. Having freedom to travel, be comfortable, i.e. business traveling, staying in nice places, being able to go on lots of adventures. Success is also absolutely loving your job, life, and everything you've done with it. Being able to look back and think, wow, I really did that, and I stepped out of my comfort zone. Someone else said, success to me looks like having the freedom to live a life on my terms, making a meaningful impact to the lives of other women, and continuously growing as the best version of myself. Love that so much. Someone else says, stress-free life and flexibility with my time, location, working 4-day weeks, spending time with my family, and being able to do the things that I love. Once again, really great definition. So there's a few varieties there. And I share these so that you can think about, what does your definition of success looks like? Because that has to come first. Then when you've got that clear vision, you can then identify what are the mindset shifts and that identity first strategy or identity first transformation that I need to align with, and what are the small changes that I can make to start getting there. Is it increasing your prices? Is it getting yourself a great new office setup? Is it buying some nice new skincare to help you feel more put together and like you value self, the way that you look, and self-care? Is it cooking lovely home-cooked nutritious meals because the successful version of you has time to do that and fuels herself well, knowing that that is essential for her long-term growth? So I hope that that's been helpful, and I'd love to know, what is success for you? What does that look like? Share it in the comments on YouTube if you're watching. DM me on Instagram. I would love to hear. And instead of asking yourself, what do I need to do next? Think about, who do I need to become next to make this feel easier, lighter, and more aligned? Because it is the mindset, and that's the beauty of it. That's what's exciting, is it's not often about doing more, or at least not a lot more. It's shifting how you show up. So I'd love to hear what this looks like to you. And if you're interested in joining the Expander Club, then feel free to send me a DM. I will leave the waitlist in the YouTube link below. If you're listening, you can send me a DM to find out more. And let's have a conversation about it. Let's inspire one another. Let's motivate each other to make decisions and take actions from the future version of ourselves, where our success is inevitable, and use that to create more magnetism, more momentum, more sense of ease in our day-to-day. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you did, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, comment, send me a DM, let me know how you found it, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next episode. All right, lots of love.